Hey Fortnite fans, today we're taking a look at another series of action figures from Jazzwares, and I am super excited to announce that these ones actually are available at your local Walmart store. Well, for some of you that is. They have started popping up, I don't know, within the last couple weeks, week or so, in Texas, and then they popped up in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Nebraska, and I believe Wyoming, and I think I even heard Nevada. So they're popping up out there, and it's really, really exciting because I like showing you figures that you can go out and find and buy if you would like to. This is really, really cool. So we got a couple of them in the packages and a few of them just standing out here. I thought I would go ahead and just show you a couple of them. The packages are generally speaking the same. We'll flip this figure around. This is Malik over here. And here is the cross sale if you're curious. This is everyone except for the Ultra Limited Edition Raz. And I don't know when or how he'll pop up. I don't even know if he's available out there. We have never yet had a wave, as far as I know, with an Ultra Limited Edition figure release. So this will be our first experiment. Not really experiment, but our first experience with that. So that's going to be kind of interesting to see how that all plays out. I will point out that Gunner over here is the limited edition figure. Otherwise, these are your figures right here. We got Hotwire on the left, Gunner, Grimoire, Tomato Head, kind of tucked over here in the corner by his lonesome. Malik right here, as I pointed out, and I flipped the card around. And we have a purple version of Moisty Merman. Without further ado, let's get these figures open. So you might have chuckled just a bit when I said what I just said about opening them up, because most of them were already opened and out of the box. We only had these two guys to open up. It's just a habit I'm used to saying, but we did have to open up these two guys. But they're all open. We can take a look at them. I think the first thing I'm going to show you are the harvesting tools that these figures come with. And so this is the first one. This is Hotwire's harvesting tool, and it is called the Megavolt. Kind of get it there, you can see it. It's kind of cool. It's got a translucent piece right up here in the front. But there, if I put my hand there, you can kind of see through it. And we'll just use Grimoire and knock everybody over. Then, actually, we'll discuss some of the standing stuff here. And we've got Grimoire's Forsaken Strike harvesting tool, and that also has a translucent piece that's been painted over here. That's mostly pink and silver. Then we have Malik, and he is carrying the King's Oath, which I gotta say, I like this sword. I hope they release some sort of an accessories pack. We get more of these. This is a really cool one. We need a lot more of these types of swords for Fortnite or other figures. See, that's one of the really cool things about these accessories with Fortnite figures. A lot of them you can use with other figure lines. So if you find the right ones and figure out how to re-release them, you could re-release them over and over. Like, if you toss this and a couple certain things in an accessory pack, people would go nuts over this. Put maybe like the Black Knight's shield, and you put this in there and a couple weapons that are just right. You could sell so much because people would be buying this stuff for other toy lines. And now we'll move on to the director's cut that comes with Moisty Merman. Standman. Not Sandman, but Standman. There's the director's cut harvesting tool that comes with Moisty Merman. We'll be doing the limited edition figure last. We have Tomato Head, who has the dual harvesting tools, the Pear Peroni. And I don't know if it's just the figure that I've got, but I gotta say, the handles on these things are way too thick. They're way too big for his hands, except for the little nubs right there at the bottom. As you can see, he's holding with just these little nubs right there, because that's all I can get into his hands. I can't even, if I were to try to open his hands up to fit him around what I think are the actual handles, man, I just can't get him open that far, and they feel like they're going to crack or break or something. I don't know. But yeah, there's another one going down. Some of these have a bit of heaviness to them. Then we've got Gunner, and he's got his punch saws. And these are kind of odd. Well, besides the fact this one's kind of bent here just a little bit, but these punch saws are really strange. They only fit kind of like around the finger and knuckle area. You would think, let's pull one off here. They've got a hole here in them, and you would think it slides in. I wish they would have made these maybe just a very slight bit larger so you could actually fit them over the entire hand, because as is, you can't. You can kind of fit them around the fingers, maybe the edge of the thumb, and then get up to about the knuckle, and that's it. So these are like really easy to pop off. And this side, this left hand, his knuckle is massive. Like, he's got this, I mean, it looked like it was difficult to take off. The hand is different because of this big chunk here. So it makes it a little bit more difficult to get it on. If they're just a tad bigger, and I worked at it to get it on. That's right, I turned this around. I worked at it just a little bit. There we go, to get it on. Now I kind of got the idea. But you also can't have them straight. That's the other thing I've noticed, is they won't be straight. They have to be at an angle. And I know, the punch saws, you probably use them for punching, but you can't straighten it out. We'll talk more about them later. So those are his harvesting tools. We're going to toss all these harvesting tools off to the side so we can take a look at these figures. Now that we've knocked everybody over and they're all laying here in a pile, we're going to start looking at some figures. We're going to look at older ones first. We're going to go with Tomato Head, only because he's one of my favorites, and I am crazy excited that we got this crown version right here. So we're going to tuck him right there, and I'm going to bring in real quick the original Tomato Head. Provided I can get him standing, you can kind of see the difference here of how he looks. He's more of a tribal looking Tomato Head, and I gotta say, I like this head a whole lot better. So I kind of hope if they ever redo Tomato Head, they remove the crown and give us this head, because this is a much better, it's a better looking head. It's got a smaller vine up on top, which is kind of difficult to see there. But the mustache is slightly different. The eyes are slightly different. I just like how this one's been created. This one looks old now. But yeah, I really like how he's got all these little tattoos and graffiti marks all over him. I just think it's so awesome. I'm loving this Tomato Head. Got all the exact same articulation. It's mostly the same figure. The head is the only difference here. The entire body is just the same and repainted. So that's pretty cool. Now let's move on to Moisty Merman. And we'll get him here. And he's not the same figure. And I'm a little disappointed that Tomato Head didn't get this level of treatment, since Moisty Merman did. And I'm sure there must be a reason why. Maybe we're going to get more Moisty Mermans in the future. But let's just for fun put him right alongside his original counterpart. Now, the original one that I have from the squad mode is very difficult to stand. His ankles are obnoxious. And I can't tell if this new one is the same way, but it's mostly the same figure, except for the old figure has thighs that rotate back and forth. That right there. I'll set him off to the side first. I don't need to set him off to the side. And this one, the purple one, has the new thigh, ankle, what did I say, ankle? Thigh ball joint rotation thing here. Works pretty good on this figure, I think. Some of them haven't been so great, but I think this one actually works pretty good. Let's take off his helmet so you can see the dazzling superstar that is underneath the costume. And they've even upgraded the head just a little bit. Gone are the days of pinkish red lipstick and paleness. He's got a better coloring to his skin and no lipstick this time. So, I don't know, you decide which one you think is better. I think the purple one looks a little bit better. The brown is just a little bit browner. And I really do like purple. I kind of, at this point, I need them to redo the green guy. I need this figure redone in this style. So that's one thing they're going to run across is as they start updating or upgrading the older figures, I think there's a bunch of us that are going to want the older ones upgraded. So anyway, yeah, I want this guy in the new style. Let's plop his head back on. The other thing I'll say is I think the mask is not quite as rubbery as the first one. So let's get him off to the side. Let's take a look at a new one, Grimora, however you say her name. She looks pretty cool. I think she looks pretty good. We're going to bring Tomato Head back in here, and here's a size comparison so you can see how tall this figure is versus an original designed figure here. So you can see she still stands as a female figure, just a little bit shorter, but you know, he's got this extra little bit on top of his head, so that might not count. She has all the standard points of articulation that we've come to know and love of Jazzwares figures. She can look down that well. I didn't do articulation with the other guys because it wasn't needed. We already know what they are. She can kind of look up. She's got a lower chest, abdomen cut there. If you want her to do a T-pose, well, here's half T-pose, and that's how high she can go. She's got that kind of range of motion with her the elbows, the rotation, and the hinge there. There's a hinge and rotation at the wrist. She cannot rotate at the waist, another female figure that can't do that. If you want her to sit, that's the angle. That is the angle. She's got the new style of rotation at the upper leg ball joints. Double pin knee. She's doing really good with that. And the pivot and hinge down here at the foot. You would almost think that there would be like a boot cut like right here at the base of her pants, but there isn't. You cannot rotate the ankle or the leg, but you can pivot and hinge at the ankle, and as far as I can tell, that's really as far back as she can go, and that's only as far forward as she can go. She doesn't seem to have a lot of range of motion at the ankles, so it's kind of cool, some of the stuff. She's got a gas mask over here on her left side, and got a grenade back here on her back. She's got the word soul a couple times on her. She just looks really nice. She's a nice looking figure, at least I think so. Looks like she's got some counts right down here. The front of her, is that like a hoodie? A techno future hoodie of sorts. But she's got a count right up and down the middle there. So you might not want to mess with Grimoire. Let's move on to the next one. Oh, let's do Hotwire. Hotwire is kind of a fun one. He's kind of doinky heavy in the front. And he's got some new bits of articulation or new things specific to this one, and he's kind of hard to stand now that I got him to stand, so, but that's all right. So does he look cool? Doesn't this dude just look freaking cool? So he doesn't have a ball joint at the neck like all the others do. The head and the neck are all one unit, so you rotate, and if you want him to look down, he can look down. If you want him to look up, that's his looking up, because the hinge is down in the torso area, the chest area. He does have, like, get him up here, butterfly joints. You can move his arms back and forth like so. Try and get him, make sure this is a good angle. So that's kind of cool. They kind of swing back to middle position a little bit. If you want him to do a T-pose, he can get his left arm up that high and his right arm up that high. He's a little off-kilter, I suppose, as any good electrical-based character would be, right? And he has a hinge rotation here at the elbow. Mine's really tight, so I'm not forcing him right now. And a typical hinge and rotation down here at the wrist. Now, one thing I'm going to mention is his hands. Let's see if we can get these a little bit closer. His hands here are a translucent color. And why I'm pointing that out, well, actually, it's his fingers. The fingers are translucent, if you can see there. So that means the hands are painted black, because that means the entire hand is translucent. So why am I bringing that up? That's because it could be difficult as this figure ages to get the accessories in those hands. I've been having experience with some translucent hands the last couple years, and it seems like they are just extremely hard, and I don't know if they'll become brittle one day because of that or not. So just kind of pointing that out, that might be a thing. He's got the new hip, I don't know what to call this, upper leg ball joint. I like thigh cut. Thigh cut is so easy to say. This isn't a thigh cut. This is like a leg ball twist. Maybe we just call it the twist. Let's call it the Fortnite twist from here on out. And when I say Fortnite twist, you know what I'm talking about. So he's got the new Fortnite twist. He can sit, well, about there. But the twist does not really twist all that much. It's just very slight. And double knee joint right there. His leg can go back that far. And he also has a pivot and a hinge. Trying to gently, he goes back actually very, very far. Straightening this figure up. I think that's about it right there. And being oh so gentle, because one of these, this one, kind of feels like it might want to snap on me. And about that far going forward. But as I mentioned, he is a little bit difficult to get to stand. I think it's a balancing issue with the weight of the upper body versus the lower body. I don't know. Look at that. He's got this battery on his front. And it's a fun figure. Okay, so way back we had the Master Grade Zero. This would have been a great figure to have a light in. But, I mean, let's see. He's got the torso articulation, and it looks like he can rotate at the waist even a little bit as well. So, nah, I don't want light in a figure like this. That would ruin the articulation, so I like this pretty good. Next, we've got Malik. And this dude's really, really awesome. I like him a lot. In fact, the first thing we're going to do is zoom in and look closer. Take a peek here at his eyes. Can you see his eyes? I want to make sure the light's right there. You can actually see his eyes through those glasses. Those are translucent enough glasses that you can see his eyes, and I think that's actually pretty neat. They're not just like colored over. So yeah, I like that a lot. That's one of the things that just jumps out when I look at this figure is, man, I can see the eyes through those glasses. How cool is that? He has a really nice looking outfit. I really like this outfit. He's got some nice sprays here on the back, and they show up, I think, really pretty good. He is wearing a tunic, so if you want him to sit, it is going to give him a bit of a hindrance. And his cape, which cannot be removed, also is going to not allow him to sit very well. So unfortunately, some of these figures won't fit in the vehicles. But the cape is connected via this strap that goes around, as looks like it's glued in down here on his left side, and then goes up across and then hooks into the shoulder armor. Man, something like this would have been really awesome if we could have removed it. Yeah, this would have been really cool to be able to remove something like that, so he had his tunic underneath, because I bet you could remove this tunic if you pop this figure apart, and that would be cool. You could get multiples of these figures, and you could do like a tunic squad. Get multiples in tunics or something. They're pretty nice. It's a soft rubber tunic and soft rubber cape. He's got a double pin knee. Looks pretty good, except for I'll say that this right one kind of looks weird, because they have hidden the knee joint behind the shin armor. When you go to bend the knee, it looks like that. Which, I mean, all knees are going to look somewhere, but this is a thinner joint. It's a thinner piece, and so it kind of looks weird. He has got the pivot and the hinge. If you want him to lean back, straightening him up here a little bit, he can lean back an incredible distance. And if you want him to lean forward at all, he can lean forward that far. He's got I've already forgot, is it the Fortnite twist? I think that's what I'm calling it. The Fortnite twist here, so he can bring his legs in that far, or that close together, and he can open them up that far. Yeah, Fortnite twist. He can't really move at all up here. He can move at the waist, but I guess there's no torso cut. This must just be, I might have to get another one of these and break this figure apart and see how this one's made. This one's interesting. because I don't feel a torso cut. If you want him to raise his arms, he can. About like that. Put his arms back down. They don't go straight down, unfortunately. He does have a hinge and swivel here at the elbows, but I can't get his arm to go up any more than that. This one's up, but there. I can't get his arm to go up any higher than that, and that's disappointing. But he goes pretty straight right there. Hinge and rotation at the wrist. I'm just looking around here. If you want him to rotate his arm around, unfortunately that shoulder armor will prevent that from happening, and the same with the cape. So cape figures and shoulder pad figures, they do have some problems with hindrance. And it's disappointing that some of this stuff, these overlay things, we can't remove, because I think that would be a really awesome feature to be able to remove some of those things so that you can change the look up all on your own. I think that would be really cool. I think that would make some of these figures really desirable. I mean, this figure should be already pretty highly desirable as is. All right, let's move on to the limited edition Gunner, and this is a big boy. As soon as he gets his feet flat. This is a big boy, and he's almost, I would say, I'm trying to find something here. He is almost probably a perfectly designed 4-inch action figure. And that's because of all these little features that he has on him. And because he's a limited edition, he does come with an extra head. This is the Order helmet. So you can pop his head off and then just slide this one down into place. This kind of design almost works. It almost works. Well, I gotta try to figure out how to get it in there, actually. It's almost like it's not wanting to go in there for some reason, huh? Give me a second here. Brute force here. Wait, look here. Yeah, that's kind of weird. This one's like, it's not going in. Okay, I'll be right back. All right, and we're back, and this is as good as I can do it. Unfortunately, I can't get this head in. It's still sticking up just a little bit. Yeah, I'm not really sure why. I'm looking here at these, and they look like they're the same distance. Looks like they're the same width. Well, can I put this in? Yeah, okay. I can put that head right back in. Easy to pop out. But this one, it's so weird. I cannot get it in. I'm even kind of damaging the post here, so I'm going to have to do some work on it after the video. But yeah, I'm going to have to work on this because, yeah, it's damaging the post to put it in there. So we will be proceeding with the regular gunner head. Now, the one thing I didn't like initially about this is when you go to pull it down, so it has a detachable neck. And this is something that I would have liked for the Imagine to have, so when you put the helmet on or swap the head off, you didn't see skin. But you can have him look up that high. And if you're not careful, when you're pulling the neck head and down on the, when you're pulling the neck, I'm thinking about the neck too much. When you're pulling the head down to look down, this can pull right out. And that's a bit unfortunate. And it's even starting to damage the base of this peg just a little bit. So you're going to have to really be careful or heat this thing up if you want to, or keep the head straight. That's probably what you need to do. So he's got some pretty nice little butterfly joints here. Go back, and I say little, they're actually pretty big. He's a big figure. So those work pretty good. He's got a nice torso cut here. He's got no waist articulation as far as I can tell. He's got the Fortnite twist, and he can twist in about that far. He can twist out about that far. He's going to twist and shout. He can bring his knee back about that far, his double pin knee. He has the nice loose pivot and a hinge that's very tight, so he can go back about that far. and go forward. Yeah, about that far. So another thing that I like is there are hidden accessories on this figure. You've got the knife back here, slides in the sheath, and you've got a gun that comes out of the holster on his right side. That's really cool. I have been wanting that from these Fortnite figures forever. I have been wanting all of their little secret accessories that they molded onto the figures to actually be accessories. And maybe it's because he's a limited edition, they sprung for that, and we still won't in the future get those removable accessories. But that's why this makes this figure kind of one of my favorites and kind of a perfect figure. He's got a ton of articulation. He's got the secret accessories. He's got a way of swapping. I mean, in theory, he's got a way of swapping head and neck. So like if you wanted to, if you could figure out how, by really heating this up, you could probably remove the mask off this neck and then swap this head if you wanted to do something crazy like that. If you want him to lift his arms, unfortunately, the shoulder pads strike again. He's got a saggy T-pose. But his arms rotate all the way around. If you want him to bring his arms up, unfortunately, they are not anywhere near 90 degrees because he's a big figure. He is just a big figure. Big upper body figure, and that's how he's in game. I mean, he can't help it. So when you design it, that's what you get. So anyway, I like it. I think this Gunner is really pretty awesome. It's also possible, I'm just noticing something. I might have to look. I wonder if this is even the right head that came with it, because that's a gold mask, and he's got all silver. I'll be right back. Sorry for yet another interruption. I just did a quick lookup, and yes, this is actually the correct head. So I'm going to have to really work and struggle with this, and if I can figure that out, I might have to post like a short or something showing that off, but I wouldn't think swapping these heads would be that difficult. I don't want to waste your time just trying to... Yeah, I don't get it. It just does not go in all the way. Here, let's come closer. So I don't know if you can see how well, but like right through here, there's still a gap right in there. It just will not, I guess seat is the right word. And now see right here, you can kind of see the damage that's happening to this post. So I don't know if this post is just a little bit bigger or thicker than what should have been designed. Let me hold this up here. They look to be, to me, let's do it this way. They look to me to be about the same. So anyway, let's get off the Gunner situation here. He is the last figure. Actually, now I'm having difficulty getting that one in. So let's see. Let's try it a different way. Nope, I still can't get it. Okay, we're done with this. We're not going to try and do this anymore because, yeah, we're just not. All right, so here we have Gunner, crown of many crowns, tomato head, hot wire. Apologize for this being probably just a little bit longer of a video because of me working around on Gunner, trying to get him to work, and some of these figures to stand up. For some reason, some of these figures are a little bit difficult to get standing up for me. Stay. Why aren't you standing? Just stand. I can always get figures to stand. Why can't I get you to stand? There we go. And Moisty Merman. This is your Series 25. There we go. This is your Series 25 set of Fortnite action figures with the mysteriously missing, at retail, Golden Raz. But I have him here anyway, and we'll have to do a video about this figure in the future. So stick around. Thanks for stopping by. I will see you in the next video.